Match day 11 in the books. Big losses around the grounds. Arsenal undefeated no more. Tottenham undefeated no more. Liverpool dropping points. The only ones near the top. Man City keep rolling with a 6-1 victory against Bournemouth. Near the bottom, Sheffield get their first win. Big ups to them. Burnley keep losing. We'll cover all that was for match day 11 and more in this episode of the Premiership Perusal Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, and the ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Premiership Perusal Podcast. This week, lots of controversial refereeing decisions.
Cooking. There was some cooking by the refs.
Yes, some home cooking.
I think we talked about it in the summer, and I'm just going to pat myself on the back. I said it was going to get worse this year, and that they're just going to tank it so they just get rid of VAR. I think that's where this ends up.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it seems like they.
I think they're just gonna sandbag it and get rid of it.
They're nuts.
And then they'll say, "Yeah." I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's like when you get to the point of these games being delayed as long as they are, when you get to the right calls not even being made. I don't know. 4 out of 5 times the right call's made. It feels like it should be. It's there to make sure it's 100% right, but. I mean, it's a very low clip for what it should be, no?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe
we'll get into it as we go on.
Let's get into one that didn't have to do with VAR.
No controversy at all. Yes.
Just Bernd Leno saves. Real soft shots at Bernd Leno.
Yeah. A complete lack of tactics pretty much throughout the whole game. Obviously, United, that's kind of their MO. First half, not a whole lot of action. There was the one offside goal that was pretty tight. McTom, leading goal scorer.
Leave it to McTom. Yeah, they're just robbing him.
Yeah,
that's what's so funny. The announcer in the game was like, "Yeah, it's not even their attackers scoring; it's McTominay these days."
Absolutely. I mean, he's the guy. They got to hold him back, otherwise he might win the Golden Boot.
So true. Scotland would be unstoppable.
Yes. Anyways, first half, a lot of giveaways from both sides. Neither side really looking all that threatening in terms of good chances. Went into halftime 0-0. Second half, I thought United, I was going to say Fulham
looked a lot better.
Going forward, yeah.
Their chances were crazy. We talked about everyone's memeing on Onana. I think the time to buy Onana stock was last week, like you're saying, because he's been playing a lot better, even though he's getting clowned on. In this game too, I mean, he was exposed a lot by the defense, and he came up big a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. Fulham started better to the second half. United looked really bad going forward. I mean, their attack at this point is like...
It's just dribbles. It's just crossing up in terms of switch-up play, and then just dribbles. And I guess like certain little like kind of layoff handoffs around the edge of the box, but there's no misdirection. There's no cutting edge to the attack. It's very much cut and dry and not in a good way.
Yeah, you got Hoyland out on an island there, getting absolutely no service whatsoever. You got
Mhm.
Rashford, who's just been horrendous. And then you got a spinny
I mean,
man
I have to
who
say,
can't even spin anymore. He can't
it's
spin.
it's uh it's pretty funny that did you see the Southgate thing about the national team?
Uh, what specifically?
It was about, well, he was asked like what he thought of Cole Palmer and stuff like that. And there's plenty of guys that could get up over Cole Palmer. It's not the Cole Palmer point, but he's like, who would I drop? And I'm thinking, I don't know, the guy who has like no goals this year, Marcus Rashford. What has he done?
Yeah, true.
But that's political. You can't drop Marcus Rashford from the national team. That'd be riots from United fans. That's all they have, minus their one Carabao Cup, their one trophy in 10 years.
That's true.
I sound salty. I honestly would be okay if United were good because it means I wouldn't have to watch bad football. But unfortunately, I hate them because I have to watch bad football.
Yes, they are very bad. They don't even have like the occasional.
Like just 4-1 and they just crush a team. That doesn't even happen. It's just classic, just grind out games. It's so bad.
Yeah, there were some long stoppages for injuries in the second half. Then after that, United started to find a little bit more going forward, but still not really creating chances.
I thought part of that was Fulham just really took their foot off the gas too,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, for sure. And it all came down to the very end, the 90th minute. Some horrendous
That
defending
Paulinho, no, well,
slash.
Paulinho starts it by clearing the ball straight up the field on the ground, not in the air, on the ground. Just sends it straight up the middle of the field from his own box. So that's strike one. And
Yeah,
then there's a couple like crappy handoffs that they've been doing the whole time. And then Tim Ream just got cooked on it. It's like, how did you? What happened? It wasn't
Tim.
even a good play.
Yeah, Tim Ream got cooked. Paulinho got cooked twice, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Robinson got cooked. It was a calamity of errors out of the back from Fulham. There's no way that goal should have ever happened, but it does. United get gifted a goal. Bruno Fernandes scoring it 1-0. United take home all 3 points.
As
Hard to
much
say
as we
that was
don't
deserved.
think, yeah, as much as we don't want to say United didn't deserve that, I've been beaten to the drum of Fulham are scared me. I
True.
don't trust them for a while. They should have easily lost the opening game to Everton. But the game that they lost to Chelsea, the Mudryk goal, okay, you concede that. Even then, it was a fanned header. But like the second goal they got, it's just like Tim Ream just being lazy and sloppy, and he like clears it off Brozian, and like I don't know. It's just their team. It doesn't have the vibe that it did last year, and I don't think Silva's picking the right team frequently. But it definitely is lacking edge. The only real like decent guy they added to the team was Iwobi, but yet they'll strut out guys like Raul Jimenez. I just don't understand.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Troubling times in Fulham
United,
land.
anything to say about United, Sam?
Well, they didn't deserve this win. That's about all I have to say about United.
Does it feel like Bruno's had 200 Man U appearances now?
Is that total?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I suppose that feels about right.
Yeah,
I mean, he plays like every game, so
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Other than that, yeah, there's not much to say about this. They had a howler midweek against Copenhagen, blowing that lead.
yeah.
That's the
Classic.
state of Man U. Garnacho silencing the Copenhagen crowd, blowing a lead, and then the Copenhagen manager coming out afterwards saying, "Yeah, that was our worst game we played in the Champions League so far."
Theater of nightmares.
When it rains, it pours for United.
Sure does. Move on to the next match. Brentford versus West Ham. A little bit more interesting in this one. Got off to
Yeah,
an
this
early
one.
start.
this one was pretty good. Your guy Neil Maupay right off the bat.
Neil Maupay. Can you
How about
believe it?
that? Well, I kind of can because it wasn't like a highly skilled
Yeah,
goal,
that's
you
true.
know.
Yeah. Brentford taking the lead 11 minutes in after West Ham to struggle to clear their lines. Onyeka has a go at goal, but it kind of just scuffs and falls to Neil Maupay. He's
Yes.
able to tap it in an empty net. Scores for the first
He
time
was
in
so
like
hyped.
14 months or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep, something like that.
Insane. Brentford, Neil
That-
Maupay, watch out.
Yep, okay. I'll hold you to it.
This is
Good response from West Ham, though.
This is really gonna set him off. Yeah, West Ham pull one back just 8 minutes later. Kudus with a spectacular finish.
Yeah, that was
Getting,
nice.
Kind of the
Little-
acrobatic bike.
Yeah, a little side volley.
Yeah,
Was it posted in it or just far net? Might have just been far net, but still, that was a nice goal.
yeah. First time, beautiful. And then 5 minutes later, West Ham grab a second. Benrahma putting in a cross for Kudus. Again, hits the post.
Hitting the post.
Rebound falls to
Unbelievable.
Bowen. Taps in. Great response
I've been in
there.
Fuego calling the attackers right now. I said that they got to get Kudus going, and we'll
Mhm.
get to Doku in a second. But man, I felt like they really could have used a bit more of a spark, mainly because I just felt like, you know, Paqueta really hasn't had it going lately. It was
Yeah.
interesting to see Benrahma get in there too. But yeah, the Antonio and Bone kind of up top in this one. Ward-Prowse has finally cooled down now. This is more like Southampton. Ward-Prowse, where he kind of goes silent for a little bit. No one really singing his praises, and then he pops off for a 4-game stretch, and people are like, "Oh, James Ward-Prowse."
James Ward-Prowse.
It's Robin Williams.
Yeah, a couple of chances towards the end of the first half. Kudus had a break. Bowen rolling across the back post. Antonio missing on a wide
That was
open net.
Absurd. Yeah. When I was saying he had a rough go, that's kind of what I was implying. That was inexcusable.
The West Ham striker position is very cursed. They're forever stuck with Mikel Antonio because everyone else just apparently sucks.
One of the 4 highlights I've seen from Serie A this year was Scamacca had like a goal where it was like a kind of a cutback pass, and he had this like insane back heel finish that went to the far post. I was like, at no point could he ever even like think about doing that for West Ham. That would never, ever happen.
No, never. Late chance for Mbumo, but his shot fizzed just wide. Went into halftime, 2-1. West Ham with the lead, but Brentford score early in the second half, 55 minutes in, through a Mavropanos own goal from a corner. I was calling for him to get some game time, and this is how he repays me. With an own goal.
Who let this man cook? Mavropanos. Well, I don't blame you for calling for it because something had to change. But I think it's more Kurt the cat kicker has to be out there, not Aguilera. But what do I know?
Yeah, it was kind of a weird one. Like he was trying to clear it over the goal, but it did not work out whatsoever.
No, and then he got a yellow like right after that. It was really kind of just like a rough 5-10 minute stretch for Mr. Mavropanos.
Yeah. And Brentford rather, taking the lead 69 minutes in. Jensen putting a great cross to the back post. Nathan Collins with a thumping header for the winner.
Can someone buy Matthias Jensen like a top 6 team?
I think teams are blind to Brentford other than Ivan Toney.
Maybe they don't want to. Yeah, they don't. They see the Moneyball aspect and they think, oh, it's just smoke and mirrors. And if we bought Neil Maupay, that's the only guy from Brentford who keeps getting bought. It's something about the striker because it's Maupay, it's Ollie Watkins, and now Ivan Toney.
True.
That's the only thing you can buy from him, I guess.
And goalkeepers.
Yeah, yes, I guess David Ryan. No one's going to be buying Flecken from them, I don't think, unless it's a backup.
Yeah, that's
A
for
backup
sure.
role.
So that was an
Or
interesting game.
Strakosha.
Interesting game. Brentford battling back after going down. Pick up all 3
Yeah.
points.
West Ham battling back, and then Brentford also battling back. It was the game of comebacks.
Yeah, sure was. Just feels like West Ham. I mean, they were pretty reliant on Kudus in this one. Felt like.
Yeah. I don't know. Bowen had 1 or 2 moments where he looked okay, but then somehow, like, it's funny because he didn't deserve that goal at all, but yet it fell to him. So,
Yeah,
I don't know
right.
what to say. Very odd.
Yeah.
Let's get
think,
to a extremely entertaining matchup. And by entertaining, I mean there's like 4 things that happen.
Yeah, who could have saw that Burnley versus Crystal Palace would be a god-awful game.
News fest.
2 teams who can't really attack very.
No. And it starts off, Sam. Burnley actually looked pretty decent in attack going forward. Really kind of put it on Palace. Nothing in terms of like amazing chances, a couple half chances. But the first real thing in note was the Edouard play, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he comes in on Trafford. Red? Yellow? No card?
I mean, it was pretty aggressive.
Well, is it red, yellow, or no card, Sam?
I'd say yellow for sure.
I would say orange.
Yeah.
I'd say orange. He could have another light challenge and he might just get sent off for it.
Definitely. I mean, like, in the scale of like necessary to unnecessary, that was very far on the
10 out of
unnecessary.
10 on the unnecessary. Yes. That's the ultimate risk.
Like, Jesus Christ, dude, what are you doing? Like,
I think Wisa's the ultimate guy who's really good at that and actually gets there.
yeah.
But Edward going for that was like, you weren't even close, my guy.
No, you weren't even in the same area code.
And then you just followed through anyways.
Yeah.
So
he committed.
Even some reffing controversy coming down to this game. So crazy. But I tell you what, Sam, Jordan Ayew just continues to cook this year, much to your dismay.
Yeah, I mean, the guy can't be stopped. This one's starting off.
Charlie Taylor got absolutely bamboozled out there. He didn't know where he was.
Well, I think that was Bayer, actually.
Was it?
Bayer.
I thought it was Taylor.
Joachim Anderson with the long ball up, and then Bayer just really struggled to defend, got kind of turned around, upside down, inside out. Jordan Ayew rolls across. The young schlup scores.
Far post, crashing the far post, slotting it home.
Yeah. You know, really wasn't a whole lot in terms of Crystal Palace chances outside of the goal itself.
No, not really.
Which was kind of frustrating to see from a Crystal Palace perspective. You're thinking, okay, Burnley, their defense has been pretty shaky. We saw it in this goal itself. You play a long ball up, they can't even handle it. But they really didn't test Burnley all that much.
It's the Roy Hodgson conservative ball. You got your goal, and not like you have to sit back, but it's like, you know.
Well, I mean,
you don't have your main playmaker Etse out there until the second half getting subbed on. He got a new contract. Good for him. Yeah. I mean, who is the real playmaker? Because they had Edward, Schlupp, Hughes, Ayew, Lerman, Ducore. A very, very defensive lineup to begin with.
Yeah, I feel like I've been bamboozled into Roy Hodgson ball. You know, the end of last year, it was like actually entertaining, but now we're just back.
Now he's back to normal.
His previous stint, and it's like, okay, we're gonna have like 35% possession against Burnley, and have like no chances.
Well, that's the thing is they take care of all the crappy teams playing that way, but against like Liverpool, like sure you might only lose 1 or 2-0, but like, I mean, what is there to say? You're never gonna win, and you're not. There's like a 2% chance you draw.
Yes. So this one goes into halftime 1-0. Second half, Burnley a little more aggressive. They had a couple chances. Goodmanson had a chance, rolled just wide, and then Josh Brownhill later on had a nice curler saved by Johnston. And then Jay Rodriguez nearly scoring as well.
Where do you put Sam Johnston in the goalkeeper power rankings right now?
Goalkeeper power rankings, he's got to be up there.
Probably second behind Radu.
Second behind Radu. That's good. Good.
That's our guy.
Yeah.
That's our guy.
Living legend, Radu.
Yes. Well, we at least got to see at the end of the game, Etse got to cook and what he's capable of. And once they get him back out there fully fit with this new contract, he'll be doing what he normally does. He'll be making fools look silly. But he's got the his distribution. Tyreek Mitchell goal. How about that?
Yeah, it was really nice link-up play there from Eze and Mitchell, and that nice finish there from Mitchell as well. Finishes 2-0. Palace, not the most convincing performance, but they got the job done. They got the 3 points. They move on.
Joachim Anderson farming more clean sheets this year so he can be up for Player of the Year. Respect.
Yeah. Burnley without Lyle Foster, who is out.
Yeah,
to,
illness.
Mental illness break.
Yeah.
So that's a big loss for Burnley. I mean, he's been
really their main
by
guy.
far their best attacking player so far. So that's a big loss. And they already have been struggling to score goals in the first place. So Jay Rodriguez, time to step
he'll
up.
hit a banger one of these times.
I can't believe he's still playing in the Premier League. I
can. Ross Barkley's out here. Ross Barkley's playing better in Liverpool, guys, this week, so I believe it. Even dropping like Koleosho and Abduni are just not clicking like they were to start the year. So it's really, really kind of tough. I thought Burnley's midfield is actually pretty decent in this game. The Brown-Hilberg kind of rotation, I didn't think it was that bad, given what I thought Palace would kind of crush them. But that was not the case. So Burnley, I don't know. Did they remind you of a team that's been up lately where it's just like, they're probably going to go down, but there's like a 2% chance they stay up? Maybe like a West Brom team that was up, or like Watford a couple years back. But even those teams had like better guys.
It's not a bad
like the West Brom team with like, what was it, Mateus Pereira, or at least Watford had Emmanuel Dennis for a month. Looked like the best striker in the league for 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's move on to another game that decently entertaining, a little surprising, but it's Everton and Brighton, Sam.
Yeah.
And it got started pretty quick, pretty early.
Yeah, it sure did. Everton had a really chance. Early warning sign is Doucouré had a volley saved by Verbruggen. And then in the 7th minute, they take the early lead. Mykolenko scores with the second effort after his first shot was saved. Rebounded back to him. Brighton didn't know what hit him.
How about that? What are you going to do when Mykolenko comes for you? Now, if only they just kept Nathan Patterson on the other full-back side, we would probably be okay.
Yeah, gotta roll with Ashley Young. Ashley Old.
Well, you don't have to roll with him, but you choose to, Sean Dyche.
Sean Dyche is morally obligated to.
Yes.
He's like, I brought this 38-year-old man. I will play him.
Yeah. We had another goal, Sam, but this one, after VAR reviewed it, appeared offside. In real time, I thought it was on.
It was very tight.
Yeah. Lewis Dunk on the set piece. A little bop in the weasel, if you will, putting it home.
The first time shot bar down and in. That was pretty filthy. Unlucky there from Lewis Dunk.
Big Lou.
Almost dunked on. and Everton there. Yeah, kind of as you would expect, Brighton a lot of possession, but they struggled to create any real chances in the first half, and they did look susceptible on the counter at times.
I agree. Their attack has not been as cutting edge as it was last year. Kind of back more to the more passing, but even they're not getting solo plays out of guys like Matoma quite as much. They're not getting into dangerous areas that they like to, getting to that end line. But
I was thinking about this. I think the loss of a Estupiñán has been
It's been
kind of
huge.
big for their attack,
it's
which
been
is
huge.
something
He
you
gets
don't
forward.
really think about. But
He gets forward in that midfield role. He's like what Zinchenko should be.
yes, but he's not.
But he's not. He's the coach's kid. Which I
He's
thought
the
about
coach.
today is that we didn't even get that breakdown of the one pod. Because it was during the one that got lost, the lost
lost
episode.
episode.
My coach's kid take.
Yeah,
Mm.
classic. Anyways, this one goes into halftime 1-0. Second half, couple chances for both sides. Dunk had a free kick saved by Pickford. Then McNeil had a chance that went just wide. But Brighton pushed for the equalizer, finally got it in the 84th minute. Matoma's cross deflecting off Ashley Young for the OG.
Yeah, it was a matter of time before Matoma did cook Ashley Young because what else would he do? I mean, it's Ashley Young.
Yeah.
He's no good anymore. Needs a lot of help, but he was left on an island. They started to just force feed Matoma towards the end, and yeah, I mean, I thought the way Brighton even lined up. I know you talked about last episode where it's like, Dejerby, what are you doing with some of these lineups?
Yeah.
Adingra was pretty far forward in this one. Lallana to start. I mean, your depth isn't like amazing, but why is he starting?
Yeah, I didn't really like Adingra in this one. I felt like he gave up
Well, he
possession
did play that.
way too
Well, that's
much.
what I'm saying. He hasn't looked really sharp lately. He had that good start to the year and kind of preseason. I was just glad Baleba wasn't out there after what we'd seen from him the last couple weeks.
Yeah,
but
Adam Lallana doesn't really inspire confidence.
No.
Like you're saying.
But Everton really, they got that goal and then they just kind of didn't really do a whole lot. They're kind of looking to counter just like they did against West Ham, but no Jack Harrison magic. No chances really for Calvert-Lewin.
Right. Yeah, I thought at the very least Everton they were defending well, and they'd probably be pretty disappointed to concede in the 84th minute like they did. Hoping
yes, given how hard they'd worked.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you go in not expecting to win. You maybe expect to draw, but then given the performance, when you don't win, you're like, oh, shit.
That was an opportunity missed.
Yes, to say the least.
So anyways, that one ends 1-1. Brighton, another disappointing result. Everton, solid result for them. Club of the future.
Yes. Up to 16th. And by up to, I mean they went down a spot. They're 15th and they went down.
Feels like they should be higher.
Yeah. Can I read something off to you real quick before we move on?
Of course.
So Everton 16th and then Luton 17th. The gap there is 5 points. Last year when it was teams like 12 through 20 that could go down, do you think it's still going to be like that, or you just think these bottom four are just in a whole other class of stinky?
Oh, yeah. I think last year was way different. I mean, last year was like there was 5 points between 12 through 20 rather than 16th to 17th.
And
like,
as bad as Leeds were, like, you would say the chance of Leeds winning a game against an average team was probably like maybe 5 to 10% less than, Crystal Palace and 12th.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that big of a gap.
They definitely could win games, and it wouldn't be surprising
Yes.
if they played to their potential. This year, you have the clear bottom feeders: Bournemouth, Sheffield,
Burnley and
Burnley.
Luton. But Luton are
Whoa,
cooking.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Luton are definitely the best of those four. It's
Yeah,
not even close. Um, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Looking at Everton, I'm like, oh man, they're the worst of the
the
non-relegation
rest.
threat teams.
Yeah,
So we'll have to keep that in mind. But moving on to the next game, a real relegation threat, Manchester City.
very much small club.
Very,
Two minnows going at it.
yeah, a truly humble small club, Manchester City.
This was the game where Hank absolutely lost his mind
I
because Doku
I didn't
popped off.
I won't lie. I did smile, and that's the only time you'll see me smile about Man City
Hank's
because
like,
I
it's
knew it was
happening.
coming.
It's
They
happening.
haven't had anything happen in the attack, whether people like to admit it or not. So it's like, let's just have this guy dribble around, and he, I must say, is one spectacular dribbler of the ball. The Premier League has lacked that the last kind of handful of years, where it's like, sure, you have your Adama Traores and your say Maximans and stuff, but you haven't had one on like a truly top team, except I guess Grealish did, but now he's been kind of neutered, if you will. Um, they just kind of let him go with the ball and let him do his thing.
Yeah. And he did his thing.
He most certainly did. He's just so quick to get to that end line. It's like, oh my gosh. And his passing is actually really spectacular. It's not just all handles. Even though his handles are fantastic. But he gets a goal to start from Rodri.
Yeah, very nice. 1-2 playing with Rodri. First time finish for Doku, kind of towards the top of the box. Yeah, really, really quick work from Doku. The movement is just so fast. I mean, Bournemouth, the huge issue I saw with this one was they were allowing so much space between the midfield and the defense. It's like they just allowed the City players to walk, and they didn't look like they were defending very intensely. They were kind of jogging around.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Like as if they were like, well, when Man City lose the ball, we're going to get it and we're going to hold possession and we have to, we're going to make them work. It's like, no,
yeah.
that's not going to happen.
It was a very weak defensive effort. It didn't look like a team that was, unified in the cause of let's really batten down the hatches and try and keep out City. It was like
That's how you see the smaller clubs beat Man City, is they kind of just pack everyone in and you just have a low block and that's how
on
you
the
do it. And then
counter.
you hit on the counter once or twice. Bournemouth are not meant to do that.
Yeah.
After that first goal, Sam,
Yeah.
it truly was the Doku show.
The Doku show. Just 3 minutes later, Doku pops up on the right-hand side this time. Good footwork. Passes to Bernardo Silva, who
Little
just
triple
passes
far
it into
post.
the net.
Yeah.
Very easy. It's like you snap your fingers and City are up 2-0, and then you snap them again, and they're up 3-0. This time, Doku's shot deflecting off of Akanji and in.
Yeah. I mean, that was about as lucky as you get.
Yeah, that
For
was
Man
kind of
City
a
standards.
hockey type goal. The
Yeah.
deflection.
Then Alex Scott goes out with an injury. He was actually looking okay for Bournemouth standards out there. So that's brutal.
Yeah. So, without even realizing it, Bournemouth go down 3-0 already. Goes into halftime 3-0. Second half, Bournemouth did have like one chance.
Yeah,
Right
Big
away.
Dom had a couple.
Yeah.
He had a couple. He scored the one. He was offside.
Yep.
And then I think later he hit the post, but I think that was after it was 4-0. I could be wrong. But they were cooking a little bit in the second half.
Yeah.
And they do end up getting a goal, but we'll go over the other one. Erling Haaland not feasting in a 6-1 against Bournemouth. That chaps my ass. And everyone who plays fantasy. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, how do him and Julian Alvarez not score when City scores 6 goals? Or get an assist?
Because Bernardo Silva is the bane of your existence.
I absolutely hate that guy.
That's fair.
He bothers me.
Phil Foden getting a goal. This is the kind of game where you get Phil Foden cooking.
Yeah.
That's a good sub for whatchamacallit. Pep to be like, you know what, let's just throw Phil Foden out there, maybe he gets a goal, and he does.
Nice assist from Doku again. And then Bournemouth 10 minutes later get the goal.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Calvin Phillips getting subbed on, in which you never know, could be his last Manchester City appearance, Sam.
That's true.
You never know. These things are not guaranteed. Also, Matthias Nunes is not a Man City player. I'm going to throw that out there.
Doesn't it bother you that Man City just spends like 50 million pounds on guys who like will never be anything for the club?
Nah,
They make like less than 50 appearances.
pretty much. That's how it is.
That doesn't
That's what
bother
they do.
you at all?
No, I actually think Man City is a heckin' humble team, and
Great team.
I
Football
love
heritage.
them. They're amazing.
Yes.
I love prime Barcelona, and now I love prime Man City.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my favorite teams.
We're getting back into it. Bournemouth grabbing a consolation goal. Luis Sinisterra.
The poise of him to fake the shot and kind of dribble a little bit, that was nice. That's what happens when you're down, 4-1, 5? Or 4-1 at that point?
It was 4-0 at that point, making it 4-1, yeah.
No, yeah, well, maybe this.
But their joy didn't last very long. Bernardo Silva scoring again with a little chip on the counterattack. And then Nathan Ake scores with a nice diving header to make it 6-1. That's where it finishes. A beatdown. City versus Bournemouth.
Yeah, this is what City lives for, especially Pep. Loves to crush these teams that sit there and they think, you know what? We don't have to play a low block against Man City. We can face them head on. And it's like, no, you cannot. No, you can't. Because then you play right into their hands.
Yes. Especially if you're not pressing well, you're just gonna get
Not to mention, it should have been 7-1. It should have been a Brazil. Kovacic at the end with like a clear shot on target. And he's just like, what if I shoot this right at Radu? Who, by the way, might be the most aesthetically pleasing goalie with the hair and the facial hair in Premier League history.
He's a legend.
I mean, he's Romanian, so he kind of feeds into like the kind of gypsy, stereotype, but he looks great out there.
He's a gypsy.
Andre Radu. He's 26.
26, young fella. He's got a long future ahead of him.
Yep. As the backup at Bournemouth. There's not much to say about that one. I'm ready to move on. This next one hurt my feelings. And this is the first one we can talk about VAR really. I mean, we hinted at it with the Edward one being missed, but this was the first one that was really egregious.
Yeah, this one really hurt my soul. Took a deposit out of the emotional bank account, so to say. We're talking about Sheffield United versus Wolves. First half, not a whole lot of action. I mean, it was a lot of Wolves holding the ball, but really not creating any chances. And then just kind of a lot of fouls from Sheffield.
Yep, that's what they want. So we should have known that they'd won. They were actually doing their thing. They're playing the way they wanted.
Yeah. The game kind of popped off in the second half as the rain absolutely
it was pouring.
poured down.
It was pouring. Knew it'd be a sad day for Wolves when that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, Wolves were pushing for the opening goal, but it was Sheffield who scored first goal of the game. Cameron Archer getting in behind, goes
That was a
bar down
blast.
from distance. Ooh, absolute filth from
Blast.
him. This guy scores bangers only.
Yeah. I mean, we said that would be their one spark this year is Cameron Archer, and then if they ever had Ryan Brewster to get going, but instead they're like, how about Ollie McBurney?
Yes. You know, in the second half, I think Sheffield United was actually the better side.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone truly deserved to win this game, to be quite frank about it, but yeah, I guess
No.
if you made me pick one that was better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great, but it was more so a statement of Wolves' lackluster performance
Yeah, they let us down.
than Sheffield's stellar play. The Wolves grabbed a equalizer 89 minutes in. Substitute Bellegarde draws level with a nice curler.
What's the first name? Jean Richner? Jean Richard?
I don't know. You're the
Something like
Frenchie.
that. Something with a J. Something with a J. I wish I was French. JK. No, I don't. Um. Oh yeah, it is that. I don't know how to say that. That's okay. That was a nice goal though. Little curler, little pop
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, it was
Wang
exactly
Hee-chan
what they
assist,
needed.
baby.
Absolutely.
And then you know what they didn't need? Fabio Silva to give away a penalty at the end of the game, Sam.
Well, some might argue that it
Some.
shouldn't have been a penalty. I mean, this was like
99%.
carbon copy of last week. Just super minimal contact, very soft. They review it and they still give it.
Does the ref not know what happens when you give penalties against Gaz O'Neill?
That's what I was saying.
Said it in the press conference. He said it in the press conference. He's like, "Hey, you give this against me, you're gonna get relegated."
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, Rob Jones, see you in the championship.
Rob Jones. He's no Rob Stone.
Absolutely not. Anyways, Sheffield convert the penalty.
And it had to be Ollie Norwood. Good thing it wasn't Ollie McBurney. I would have lost my mind.
It had to be Ollie Norwood.
Why couldn't it have been? I guess Hammer got subbed off. Gus Hammer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very undeserved win for Sheffield United, but hey, they got their first win of the season.
Big ups. Big ups.
Yeah,
Not
Wolves.
really, but
Wolves, I mean, overall, it shouldn't have even come to this because their attack was just really lackluster in this game.
Cunha was straight up ass. There's not much else to say. He was straight up cheeks.
Yeah, it was a rough go for them. They really struggled to create chances without Mr. Pedro Neto in the lineup.
Mm-hmm. Cannot agree more.
Yeah. Any other thoughts about?
No, but if Wolves keep playing like this without Pedro Neto, they might join that bottom four of teams that are stinky beyond all belief,
They very well could, yeah.
depending how long he's out for. So we shall see.
Yes.
Let's get to the last Saturday game, Sam.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. We got to go against your arch nemesis, Newcastle. Who would have seen that?
Newcastle at St. James's Park.
At
Real
Saudi
pain.
Park. Saudi James. Saudi James Park, baby. What did you think of the lineup Arsenal had set? They got to stop with the Havertz thing sooner or later, right? Can you just can you just get like another 8 to play in there? Can El Neni be in there?
Yeah, I feel like at this point with the injuries, they're just kind of forced to play him at the moment. And I didn't hate it because I feel like
Can you just push Tomiyasu and White up into midfield as just wingbacks and have Kiwior in the back? You
Kiwior.
play back three.
Yes, Cedric
Just roll with
Suarez.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Fulham's finest.
Yeah, I feel like if If Fabio Vieira played in this game, he might have got bullied a bit.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that was pretty much the whole first half was just like insane fouls and yellow
Newcastle
cards.
just that's all they do is they just grind you. I feel like they don't play this tough against like mid-table clubs.
No,
Like they still play high quality, but they don't go in being like, yeah, we're just gonna batter the shit out of you.
they definitely ramp it up against the top teams. They
Yeah,
get the atmosphere going.
they're not putting in crunching tackles against Nottingham Forest
Yeah, yeah. There was a couple
or elbows.
in the first half. Kai Havertz had the one tackle where he
I
just
average should have
absolutely
been sent off. I'll
flew
say
in.
it. He should have been sent off.
Are
It's
you
my humble
saying
opinion.
specifically for that tackle or like a second
No,
yellow?
yeah,
Because I agree he could have got a second yellow for sure.
yeah, yep. No, that's what we're talking about.
But that
Not
one
that
was just
one,
was
but
funny in general.
even though
because he
I
came
saw some
flying
people
in.
say it could have been a red, but I mean,
It
from what I
it
recall,
looked
the
like
studs
it.
weren't up, but it looked bad.
It looked worse than it actually was.
That's what you want to believe.
But speaking of red cards, Bruno Guimaraes. I mean, how many
Not
fouls
my
did he
book.
get away with? Not to
Not
mention
my book.
clocking Jorginho in the back of the head with his forearm.
That's what happens.
Apparently not violent conduct.
Jorginho doesn't get any respect. Doesn't get any respect. Finished third in Ballon d'Or voting, and he should have won that year. But yet here we are. He gets no respect. It's unbelievable. My little George.
Little George. Yeah. So, very strange first half. A lot of yellow cards.
It was definitely a kind of feel it out kind of half. There really wasn't much chances except near the very end. And Kai Havertz kind of pooped his pants on the pass to Nketiah. Otherwise, Eddie Nketiah might have had a real good chance. You know what I'm talking about? At least you got to see Livermento in this game. That was
is
my
true.
favorite part about it.
Yeah, Dan Burn coming off in the second half with a
Yeah,
spinal
hurt.
injury.
Yeah. I didn't see how long he's going to be out for.
I think spinal injury. That's good. You had Dan Burn go out for that, and then Jacob Murphy got subbed on and then popped his shoulder out and had to get subbed off.
Yeah.
That was pretty wild.
Did you feel like you could have used Joe Willock in this game?
On Arsenal,
Yeah.
I feel like we could have used Gabriel Jesus.
Nah. I don't know. He could have been bullied too. I think you really needed Flamini. Who else could you have used? Who else would have been
You just mean to
Good.
mix it up.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe who else has been an Arsenal kind of hard-nosed guy in the past? Arshavin didn't take no shit when he played.
Francis Coquelin, he was like the
Francis
classic.
Coquelin, yeah. He is a hard-nosed guy.
Yeah,
There's
that was
another
great.
attacker that Arsenal had, and I can't think of who it was. I don't know why. For the life of
Podolski,
me.
Giroud.
Maybe it was, yeah, but it was probably Podolski. It definitely wasn't Giroud. Giroud, he gets shoved, but he also is French, so he'll quit. And then we have the controversial goal, Sam.
Yes.
Who, by the way, I didn't even know Joe Linton got an assist. I guess it is an assist because he got it was like a shot, but a rebound. I don't know how that works.
Well, it came off of him. Because Raya went to catch the cross but missed, and it came off of Joelinton, and it fell to Gordon. And that was part of the trifecta of the VAR review. First, it was whether the ball went out or not, which it sure looked like it went out, but apparently that wasn't conclusive evidence. Just having like 4 inches of grass in between the ball and the line. And then the second one was the push. Joelinton on Gabriel, which I mean seemed pretty obvious that it was a push.
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. I could get the ball thing, I guess, because if you look at a certain angle, sure,
The
it's hovering over
angles.
the white part,
Yeah.
but really it wasn't. But sure, okay, I'll go along with that. The push, I can't. The push is not. That has to not be. That can't stand, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. And then the third thing was whether there was an offside, but they couldn't determine because they didn't have a good angle. It's like, how do you not have a second angle? They had one angle, and the ball was behind Jolinton, so you couldn't tell where exactly it was, so whether or not it was offside, which is insane that there wasn't another camera angle. I mean, how many cameras do they have at these games? Hundreds. So, anyways,
Yeah.
Anthony Gordon gets the goal on that one. Newcastle take the lead. They're able to hold off Arsenal to pick up a big victory.
Yeah, Arsenal really didn't have it cooking at the very end. They had maybe one or two chances in the second half that really kind of stood out to me. Even in the first half, like I said, they only had one or two. Their attack has just been putrid, and I mean, it really just comes down to if Martinelli or Saka can create some magic, and it's just not the case.
Yeah,
I
I
thought the
thought
only guys who
Saka
really
was really
played that
poor.
well. Yeah, I thought the only guys that really stood out in this game were Rice and Gabriel, as far as what I would say good games. I guess Jorginho is fine too, but
Yeah,
given their
I
standard.
thought Saliba was pretty good. Rice, fantastic as always. And the guy is insane. No matter
Yeah,
how
he
well
needed
or
him.
how bad the team is playing, he always puts in like at least an 8 out of 10 performance.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, really, really frustrating. Arteta didn't hold any punches after the game. They went out after the referees. Arsenal released statement supporting Arteta. So, I mean, I don't think anything's going to come out of that other than referees being more biased against Arsenal.
Probably.
Because that's just how this league works.
You know what Jose Mourinho always said, there's an agenda against Chelsea. And it could be very well the same against Arsenal, you never know.
Well, we know there is one against Wolves because they have been screwed so many
Gaz.
times this
It
year.
might just be Gaz though.
True. Because he
I
knows.
said we can't have this guy coming in here taking a team that should go down every single year and keeping them up. We can't have that.
Yeah, we need more fancy Spaniards like Iraola.
Yes, who are out there to get wrecked by Pep Guardiola.
Yeah. So, anyways, any
Arsenal
final
fall.
thoughts on that?
No, I thought it was a kind of just nasty performance by both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Newcastle want to do. So I guess more props to Newcastle. Arsenal, they're just not built to play that style. They ain't got that dog in them to go with Newcastle. Kind of not dirty play, but very, very physical, bordering on the edge of dirty and hard.
Especially when you have no support from the referee. I mean, I don't think anyone can go against that, honestly. When a team is playing dirty and a ref
Is letting it happen.
is
because
letting
the
it
ref
happen.
sets the tone.
Yeah.
And Stu Atwell set a tone of we're just gonna let everything
How you let freaking Stuart Atwell? I mean, this has to
But
be
don't
like
act
a
like
Michael
all
Oliver
these
game.
refs are crap now. Minus, I mean, even Michael Oliver has his moments where he's not great, but he's probably your best. And it's a good thing he was on the Chelsea Tottenham game, as we'll get to.
Yeah. So, anyways, moving on to the Sunday games.
Yeah.
First game.
Little Midlands derby.
Yeah, a little Midlands derby. Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa. Getting into the game once I roll down to my notes. Forest get off to a fantastic start 5 minutes in. Aina picks out the bottom corner from the top of the box with the first time shot.
That was a nice goal.
Yeah, that was.
Not to mention, this game was the Harry Tofolo cooking show.
I mean, it was just
Cooking with Harry Toffolo.
the forced fullback show, really.
Yeah.
Olaina and Toffolo. Very nice. Yeah, linking up well on that one.
Absolutely. And it's kind of one of those things where obviously the cliche is Villa, people score early in their games, but normally it's Villa. But Villa on the road, definitely not as good as Villa at home, which is not saying much because at home Villa is amazing, but they're just not quite as sharp on the road. We've seen that with a couple of their performances this year. But yeah, this half it was a lot of possession, but not doing a ton with it.
Yeah.
Thought they really had a tough go with Watkins, just not really being able to get in the game much.
Mm-hmm.
And Zaniolo, I would probably just bring him off the bench at this point. It's just really not going for him at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. I thought Forrest did well to kind of pressure Villa on the ball and turn them over. And we saw Villa look kind of susceptible at times to the counterattack, playing that high line.
Yep.
Not unlike another team that we'll talk about soon. But anyways, this one goes into halftime, 1-0. Second half, just like the first half, Forrest get out the gate very quickly. This time a goal from Mangala from distance after Emi Martinez makes the initial save, but it goes into the goal.
Yeah, it goes
anyways.
straight. Yeah, trickles in. Kind of popped it up, then
Had a
trickled in.
little like backspin on it.
Yeah, that's the best goalie in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allison probably catches that.
Yeah. After that, Villa made some subs. They went to like a 3 at the back kind of. Tielemans came on for Matty Cash. And they really pushed for a goal there because they had to. But they had some chances. Watkins had a header. He couldn't get on target. And they were really pushing Forest back into their own box a lot more than in the first half. But Forest overall just had really great work rate from start to finish in this game and made it really difficult for Aston Villa.
Yeah. Yep.
So despite their best efforts, Villa couldn't find a goal. Nice clean sheet from Forest. I think this is probably their best performance so far this year. So that was nice to see.
Yeah, no, it's a good home victory. It feels like they've been on the road a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
I know I should talk their new keeper last week, but he did fine this game. Wasn't really tested a ton, but I know we're talking about Forest attack not really clicking, and it still really wasn't clicking all that well in this one. Awani up top with Alanga and Gibbs White in there too, but it really wasn't going. It was more the midfield was playing a bit better, and the defense was doing their job, to say the least.
Yeah. I feel better about their defense now, having like guys like Murillo back there.
Yeah, Niakate's been pretty good lately too. But Aina and Toffolo, yeah, it feels nice. And even then, it's still not amazing, but part of that is those guys are bound to be better because Mangala and Sangare are in front of them.
True.
So,
I mean, it's much better than freaking like Joe Worrell and Willie
Bolly and who was the other guy? Scott McKenna.
Scott McKenna, yeah.
Ooh, Scott McKenna.
Yeah.
Tough one.
Thanks. So anyways, Forest pick up a big victory there in the Midlands Derby. On the second match, Luton hosting Liverpool. This one was a pretty exciting game.
This was amazing. What else is there to say? Just for the fact that we got to witness Andros Townsend Sr. out there.
Andros Townsend Sr. And Ross Barkley at the same time.
Ross Barkley kind of cooking this game.
He actually did cook.
I know. I couldn't believe my eyes.
It was nuts.
It's because we propped up Sabojali playing so well, and then he's like, what if I dropped a stinker against fucking Ross Barkley?
It was It was funny because going into this game, all the commentators were like, "Yeah, Luton, they'll just have to park the bus and hope they have a chance, but they won't have a chance
so
because they
fast.
suck." And Luton's like, "What if we just like play? You know, we'll be defensive, but no, they got the ball moving pretty good at
Yes.
times."
Oh yeah, absolutely. They actually, I'm telling you, it's still the Luton tax of it's Luton lads. It's like they're not terrible,
Yeah, they'll
and
catch you
people
off
don't know
guard.
because they don't watch. Yeah.
Yeah, especially at home with the energy. Again, we have another kind of Liverpool slow start. They did have the one chance, Nunes getting in behind, had the shot hit off the bar, but in terms of it, it didn't feel like they were ready for what Luton were going to bring to the table. This
No,
one.
I don't think anyone's ever ready for Luton.
No.
I think ever
Eventually-
since really that Wolves game where they had a real good chance to win, ever since then that was the turning point of they actually like believed that they can do this stuff and that they belong.
Yeah. Eventually, Liverpool grew more into the game and took control. And they were searching for the goal. They didn't really create much for chances. Their best chance in the first half was probably when it fell to Jota, who forced Kaminsky down into his save. But other than that, not a whole lot in terms of chances. Luton defended pretty well. Went into halftime 0-0. Second half, there was a little bit more in terms of chances. Luton had a chance 65 minutes with Ogbene getting in behind, but opted for a pass instead of a shot.
That was frustrating.
And then we get like a classic Darwin Núñez point blank miss.
Just messing everything. It's impossible.
It's
that he missed that.
impossible.
It's beyond Torres.
Yes, he has taken the crown from Fernando Torres.
I don't know what to say. Like Mo Salah, like made that pass as good as you can, and he's like, "Guess what? I'm gonna miss this."
Insane.
Yes.
But the big
Darweezy.
chance came 80 minutes in. Luton hit on the counter after shouts of handball in their own box,
Mhm.
but they broke well. Kabore
Oh my gosh, did they ever?
finds Tahith Chung, who scores absolute
Not even Allison could
scenes.
stop it.
Fantastic goal.
That was as hype as possible.
That was so awesome.
The Happy Hatters.
The Happy
Going
Hatters.
crazy.
But it wasn't meant to be. Substitute Luis Diaz comes on. He rises up, scores the late equalizer, pays tribute to his dad, who was kidnapped, who was actually just returned like yesterday or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good to see.
There's one guy who deserved it. He deserved it.
Yeah.
And I must say, Harvey Elliott did cook in this game when he got subbed on. And he had to put a nice ball in at the very end
Yes.
for that assist.
Absolutely. But big point for Luton. Obviously, they would have loved all three, but still a great performance against a very
even
good
our
team.
boy John Morley sits there and he says, "Liverpool, can't believe I had to watch that. They played bad." No one's giving Luton props. They're still the nobody believes in us of Luton.
It's okay. That's okay.
Not only is it okay, that's what they want.
That's what they want. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't care
It's
what
very
you think.
much kind of like Bournemouth last year where no one really notices and then it's like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
And then come like, April, people are like, we are not giving enough props to what Rob Edwards has done with this Luton team. And it's like, where have you been? Where have you been, people?
No, then you'll get fans like the Bournemouth fans that were like, yeah, but Gary O'Neill's still pretty bad. It's like,
Yeah.
but you miss him now. Yeah, bastards. Have your fancy Spanish, man. I'll take the guy who gets wins.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the game of the week. People deeming it one of the best Premier League games ever. I do not agree with that at all.
It was the best from like
A meme perspective. And
like
VAR,
incredibly random series
yeah.
of events.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a game. It felt like, in a weird way, it kind of felt like a final where everything's kind of broken up,
Hmm.
and it's like, oh, there's halftime entertainment, and then there's this, and there's that, and it's like, and it takes a while to start, and then there's stops and start. It was no flow. It was very odd.
Very, very odd.
But let's get into it. Tottenham, Chelsea. There's about 15 things that happened, Sam. I'm just gonna list them off. Tottenham break early, get a goal off an insane deflection off of the back of Levi Colwill that goes in for Kulusevski to make it 1-0 Tottenham. And then Chelsea really kind of got into the game after about 15 minutes or so, and Tottenham holding possession. Son had a goal that was disallowed because he was marginally offside. And then this is where the controversy starts with VAR, Sam. Your boy Udogie
Ooh, doggy.
comes in and he says, Udogie, 2-footer right at your shins. And he escapes with the yellow.
Yes.
Meanwhile, there's a whole other sequence of Chelsea on a counterattack where in the back of the play, Christian Romero is seen kicking Levi Colwill after the play. There's nothing, the ball's nowhere near him, nothing's going on. And then Chelsea score, but it goes to VAR review as Raheem Sterling, it deemed that it was a handball. It's tough with those because it hits his hand, obviously, but it's point blank, so it's like, what could he even do? But at the same point, it's like, if his hand's not there, then the ball's just around him, and he doesn't have the chance. So it's understandable, yes?
Yeah, I think you have to call that.
Yeah. The Romero foul was not deemed violent. We've seen this before with Romero where he grabs Cucurella's hair and it wasn't deemed violent. Apparently when you just kick people in the back of the legs after play, that's not violent action. And Chelsea really piled it on. I found this interesting thing where it was between Kulusevski's goal and the Romero red card, Chelsea had 70% possession, 6 out of 7 shots on target, and 2 disallowed goals, along with 2 Spurs guys that could have been sent off.
And you know what I found funny too was that Tottenham, they started diving. You know, they were trying to get Chelsea players booked.
Yeah. It was very odd. But the main thing was Chelsea just started pressing really well. That's the thing. Enzo, as the game went on, looked a lot worse. But in this stretch, this like 15 to 30-minute stretch, he was doing solid. Gallagher, Chelsea's best player, it's official in my book. I don't even think it's up for debate. Is amazing at winning the ball in Chelsea's attacking third, turning the team over in defense. Romero's just passing the ball blindly into midfield. And then we have the sequence where there's a red card as Romero goes right into Enzo Fernandez's shins. And it's actually Chelsea's score, right? Caicedo scores, but Jackson was deemed in the way of the goal and called offside, which is hilarious given the fact that that Man City goal earlier this year, Sam, who was that who was offside and they said he wasn't interfering with play?
I think it was Ake.
Okay, yeah. I mean, was Jackson really in the way as much as Ake? But yet Ake gets to keep it? It's just the inconsistency, not only with VAR, but just referee decisions. It's just really amazing these days, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, kind of the double whammy on this one. It was very weird because you had the goal, got disallowed, but then they go back and they give a red card for Romero's freaking leg breaker tackle. Finally,
Yeah.
this guy gets a red card. First Premier League red card. How is this possible?
I don't know. Well, because he's been sent off, but it's second yellows, I believe. Is it not?
Yeah, probably.
Because I know he's been
First
sent
straight
off
red.
before, but his second, yeah, there's no straight red.
Yeah, which I mean is amazing because he's always doing this shit like in every
Yes,
game.
constantly. It's like Lissandro Martinez. It's
Yeah,
just they go crazy hard. So then Eric Dyer has to come on for Brennan Johnson. Cole Palmer steps up, slots the penalty off the post and in. And then we have a couple more things. James Madison goes off with injury. I haven't seen anything about it, but I was worried at first because he's not one to necessarily dive. But I was like, oh, get up. What are you doing? But I think he did hurt something. He tweaked something, but it's lower. So it must have been an ankle. Did you see anything about that after the
No.
game?
no.
Okay, maybe he did dive. And then Van de Ven has to come off. So they lose both their center backs.
Yeah.
And Hoiberg comes on. That's just crazy. 13 minutes of added time. Then there's a scuffle between Colwell and Pape Sarr, which Pape Sarr just starts shoving Colwell for no reason. I don't even know what that was. And then there's the Reece James jumping for a header, and they had to check if it was violent conduct on the elbow. And it's like, last time I checked, you have to move your arms to jump.
It was like nowhere near. I mean, that was embarrassing
It
that
just
they
became-
even looked at that.
It was just bad. It was just really bad. So it goes in halftime 1-1. With Tottenham down to 10 men. Second half, Cucurella for Colwell, because Colwell has the yellow. And then Chelsea are just kind of breaking, but also Tottenham had a couple chances, and they're a little frisky.
Yeah, they were not just gonna.
They
sit
were
back.
definitely in the game. Yeah, definitely in the game. Their pressing was good. This is kind of when I thought Enzo Fernandez looked really bad at times. It was just not good. But Chelsea have a 3-on-2 breakaway. Raheem Sterling just absolutely just terrible decision making, terrible execution to try and play that ball. It gets blocked, goes into open space. He runs it down. Udogi, second yellow on the slide tackle.
Very stupid.
Yeah, we'll get to this all at the end for my point. Mudryk comes on for Enzo Fernandez. I thought he would cook, given the fact that they're down to 9 men in space. And then we have Ainge Ball defensively, the ultimate high line,
It was
just
insane.
baiting Chelsea into trying to go offsides. And I'll wait till the end to really expand, but I just don't get it, Sam. I don't understand it.
It was insane.
You got to explain it to me. Chelsea can't break down a low block. You're feeding into
exactly
and giving them the only chance to score. Sure, they might mess up a bunch of times. They still have a chance to score. All they have to do is play one through ball. They just pass 2 miles per hour when they have a low block against them. I really didn't understand it. Jackson finally gets a goal as Chelsea worked the ball in the 75th minute. I don't know. There's a bunch of nonsense in between. Eric Dyer almost onside for a goal on a set piece. This is why not low block? Why not play a low block? And then you have a chance to win the game. But Eric Dyer marginally offside. Felt like Chelsea was going to blow it. And then Pochettino actually makes a decent substitution, puts on a defensive midfielder for Raheem Sterling, Sam, when they're winning. Can you believe it?
No.
It's unbelievable. Jackson adds another, Conor Gallagher. All they were just tap-ins at this point as Tottenham. Ainge really asking a lot for those guys to cover this much ground, that much space. Vicario, the amount of space he covered in this whole second
was
half was
nuts.
insanity. The ultimate sweeper. So Yeah, Gallagher, and then the next one was Cole Palmer feeding Jackson. And Jackson really should have had like 5 or 6 goals, honestly. He had the one at the very end where he's wide open and he missed that. It was truly incredible.
Well, his hat-trick goal, he should have passed to Mudryk.
Well, it was pretty funny because everyone thought he was, and then he just took one step to the side and walked the ball in the net, and then he does the
The Ronaldo.
then he does the Sue on the worst hat trick in
Worst hat trick
mankind's
ever.
history. Oh my god, that guy's hilarious for doing
Yeah.
that.
That was nuts.
Ends 4-1. I'll say my points just to get it out of the way. I'm very confused why so many people are propping up Tottenham and saying, that that they played so much better than Chelsea. I thought it was pretty even in terms of, if I had to say a score, sure, it probably should have been like 3-2 or something like that. But the whole Tottenham not like blowing it, bottling it, like you're up 1-0 in the 5th minute, and then you just start panicking, and you have 2 guys that should have been sent off. And then they get sent off later on. Chelsea had multiple disallowed goals. You had some injury. What was good about this game for Tottenham?
I mean, they played pretty good with 9 men, you have to say.
I guess, but I mean,
having 9 men, they like win after it. So even though it's like, why would you
just
do
don't-
that? But
I still feel like going after it, your best chance is still low block against Chelsea. How is it not?
I agree.
And it's not even like shameless. It's just like that's your best strategy to win the game. Is Chelsea just like crapping their pants? Instead, they're like, I don't know. I didn't understand it personally.
Yeah, the high line was insane.
What did you think about it? I rambled. I had to ramble and get all that out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why teams have this obsession with a high line. I mean, Villa do it too. It's like, I mean, you're playing teams
I get it
into
to pin
the
them
game.
in. I get it to pin them in, but it's like, this is not Bayern. This is not Bayern against the Bundesliga, where
you're playing
you can just pin
teams
them in no matter
into
what.
the game. By you could have completely taken them out of the game because Chelsea can't score against a low block. Forest aren't ever going to score against Villa that are playing like a not extremely high line. Of course, their best
just
chances
an
are going to be on the
intermediate
counter. It's like
it's
unnecessary risk taking for the sake of risk taking.
Yeah. I feel the exact same way. It's very, very confusing to me that so many people are propping Ainge up for these decisions when it's like, I felt like he not necessarily cost them, but hindered them, to say the least.
Yeah.
I don't know. It came down, and you're asking so much out of those guys to crack all that space, and Vicario to like make the perfect run every single time.
Yeah.
Like relying on, Ollie, Skip, and Poro to get back every single time to make it at least a 1-on-2, or Højbjerg too. Skip was in there too. You might have forgot because he's so trash. Oh yeah, because that was Vicario was like screaming at Ollie Skip when they finally conceded because he played him on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Top 10 strangest games.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say it was a good game. Like a lot of people are like, was amazing. I was like, I don't know if it was amazing. It was just odd. Very, very odd. And that's nice to have something that's a bit a change up, But it doesn't necessarily mean it was good.
Yeah.
Did anyone impress you in this game? Anything?
I mean, I thought Gallagher was good, like you said.
I did forget to mention 2 things. One, the Mark Cucurella pretty much 2-on-0 with the goalie, and doesn't pass to get sweaty, instead shoots it right at Vicario when it was 1-1 in like the 68th minute or something, which was crazy. And then Son had a chance at the end to make it 2-2.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That was nice dribbling. Bobby Sanchez coming up big with a nice stop. But also Disasi, that was just not good. He's kind of like Aguirre in the way that he's kind of error prone at like one time a game, and it's not just like a small error, it's like the biggest possible error, and you're like, oh my god, what are you doing?
Yeah. All right. Shall we move on
I think
to some
I think I
predictions?
covered everything. I know you didn't want to talk about it because you didn't. You only care when Ukraine Bolt scores. That's the
Well,
only time you talk about Chelsea.
yes, I'm salty he didn't get the pass.
Well, he should have had an assist at the end, but Nicholas Jackson said, "Let me sky this real quick."
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, let's get into match week 12.
First one up, early game,
Oh.
Wolves versus Tottenham. Tottenham obviously without Romero and woo doggy.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll
And
bounce back though.
Van de Ven's out
And
till January.
Van de Ven, yeah. I do think they'll bounce back though.
I don't know how is people are praising Tottenham. They're coming out with all these injuries. Their tactics were shoddy. I don't know.
Well, I
Now they're in
watched
a tough
Wolves
spot.
play against Sheffield United,
Yeah.
and it was bad.
I wonder if Clyde just starts this game because he started last game and it did not. Nothing happened.
Yeah, I would say maybe not, but
He might just be a super sub guy. Does this mean if no Madison, we get to see your boy Giovanni Lo Celso?
oh man, that'd be nuts.
Right now, do you know who Tottenham's center backs are?
Eric Dyer and Hoiberg. I don't know who else.
Ashley Phillips is who's next for just a straight up center back. Unless you want to go Ben Davies,
And
and you just put
Davies.
Davis in. You just put him in as a center back. I don't know.
I mean, they were kind of playing with like Hoiberg as a center back.
Yeah, well, everyone was back except for Son, to be fair. But there's just 7 guys straight across the line. That's kind of how that one went.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2-0 Spurs.
Yeah, it's at White Hart Lane. Now, that pissed me off about this game too. Is people talking about how great Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is? Shut up. Shut up. They're like the atmosphere. It's like I've been watching the last like 4 years, and it's just been like dead silent. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
At the Molyneux, I'm gonna go Tottenham 1-0, and I don't feel that great about it.
Hey, you've used up your one.
I know. That's just the meme now, though. That's what sucks too about the lost episode. No one heard me say it for every single game.
That's true.
Uh,
Second game. Well, I guess technically there's
Oh.
3 at the same time, but Arsenal
Yes.
versus Burnley at the Emirates. Arsenal.
I miss when it was Arsenal Burnley and it was Sean Dyche against Arsenal, making you sweat it out, and then it'd be like a WWE match where it's like Arsenal get a winner at like the very end, or some call goes Arsenal's way and it
Yeah.
works out. It's the only time Arsenal get calls is against Burnley.
Yeah. Arsenal have been struggling a little bit. They got the 2-0 victory against Sevilla midweek, so maybe a little Leo Trossard up front.
Could
again.
have, should have been 3-0 in the first minute. Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz, yeah.
Little
was,
header, with no one,
interesting
no
headed
one near him.
attempt.
He wanted to just fire a warning shot. That's what he was going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Arsenal would be back and get right after that Sheffield game, and I thought, given what it was against Newcastle, tough game, thought they hung in there. I'm gonna go Arsenal 2-0. I feel pretty solid about that. 2 or 3-0 is probably how it would be.
I'm going to say 3-0, and my prediction is going to be a Leo Trossard brace.
How about that? Crystal Palace Everton.
This might be a tough one on the eyes.
This one's a draw. I will guarantee you this game's a draw.
Yeah.
And it's
Probably.
either 0-0 or 1-1.
Wonder what let's see what the head-to-head is.
All I know is that Palace started this year 1-1-1. They ended up going 2-2-2, and then they went 3-3-3, Sam. And you know what they are right now?
4-4-3, 4-3-4. I don't know.
Yes. They're due for a draw.
Okay.
It's destiny. Numbers, digits, they confirm it. Sam, this will be a draw.
The last game was 0-0. The one before that, 3-0
Oh.
Everton, and then 3-2 Everton.
When's the last time Everton won 3-0? That game? There's no way they've done it since then. Oh, well, they did beat Leeds a couple years back with Lampard, but I think that was like 4-1 or 5-1 or something. Yeah, I'm gonna go 1-1. I think it's gonna be very defensive. Wouldn't be shocked if it was 0-0, but we'll go Edouard and Calvert-Lewin. The strikers get the goals.
I'm gonna say 0-0.
I respect it. It's one or the other, baby. Man U Luton. Luton,
Come on,
for
please.
the love of God.
This would be
For
the
the
best
love-
thing ever.
It'd be great because it would just be about how Man U suck and people wouldn't believe in Luton still.
That's true.
That's what would be so funny. It's what would be so funny is that no one would pay respects to Luton. They'd be like, "Yeah, well, Man U suck."
I want
Uh,
Ten Hag to get the sack because he lost to Luton. That would be peak times.
I mean, I don't know if it'd be better if it's at Old Trafford or at the Ken. I mean, it is at Old Trafford, but if Ten Hag got the sack at the Ken, that might just be the ultimate meme.
That would be. I think United.
As far as this lineup and stuff go, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, Højlund has to score at some point in the Premier League. He's cooking in the Champions League. He just can't get anything in the Premier League.
I feel like this will probably be another performance like the game against Fulham where they squeak out a win that is completely undeserved. 1-0.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to say 2-1, and I'm going to say Ross Barkley gets a goal.
Hell yeah. Bournemouth versus Newcastle.
The Eddie Howe derby.
The Eddie Howe derby.
The Callum Wilson derby.
True. The
The
Matt Ritchie.
Yep. Oh,
the
yeah.
Ryan Fraser derby.
Yes.
Strong connection.
Was Kieran Clark ever on Bournemouth?
That's a good question.
I think it's just Villa and Newcastle. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if this wasn't. Although Newcastle, I could see them dropping a stinker after beating Arsenal and grinding it out, and then they just don't show up for this game. I could see like a 1-1 for no reason, but I just don't trust Areola. I'm going to go Newcastle 2-0.
I'm going to say Newcastle 3-0.
Okay, you could hear it in my like list before that. I was on the precipice of saying 3, but I'm just going to go 2.
I'm just taking your secondary predictions for every.
Good. A lot of Sunday games this week.
Yeah.
And by a lot, I mean 5. That's a lot for our standards. Villa, Fulham.
Yeah, I don't know. Fulham, they hurt my eyes, so I can't pick them to win.
It's at Villa Park. I don't see how Villa lose this. I'm gonna go with a whopping 3-0 victory.
Yeah, I think. I'll say 2-0 Villa.
Mm-hmm. Brighton and Sheffield.
All right.
At Amex. I told you my theory about these bad teams is they win one and then it's the ultimate let-off. Even though Brighton haven't been good, I can't see Sheffield pulling off back-to-back results of getting at least a point. So I'm going to say Brighton 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, Sheffield should have lost that game against Wolves if Wolves had any semblance of attack. So I think Brighton will probably win this one. I'll say like 3-1.
Brighton a little, maybe it's the Evan Ferguson and they win like 5-1 and Evan Ferguson has a hat trick and João Pedro gets one and it's one of those games.
Yeah.
Liverpool Brentford. What are you watching for in this game, Sam?
Well, maybe Brentford can get off to a fast start. We've seen
Yeah.
Liverpool. They've been sleepy to start the
Maybe
game.
just a set piece. Little pop one in there, and it's Nathan Collins getting a header or something.
Yeah. I think one team will score
Okay.
3 goals.
Okay.
And I think that team is going to be Liverpool.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go. If Liverpool would have won last week, I would have predicted this to be a draw. I just can't. So I'm gonna go 2-1 Liverpool.
I'm going to say 3-1.
West Ham, Nottingham Forest at the London Stadium. Talks of David Moyes this being his last year, no matter what. They're just not going to re-up him as far as a manager, but he'll have a kind of part in their kind of board and front office, if you will.
Yeah, I wonder what the odds are for Forest. Could I get some good odds on Forest here?
Let me pull it up. Talk to me about how you're feeling and why. Give me Forest case while I look this up.
I kind of like Forest vibes after that game against Villa. Like, it wasn't the best performance, but I really enjoyed their work rate. And I feel like West Ham, that's something that they've kind of been lacking lately. They've looked a little lethargic. A lot of games. Obviously, Moyes doesn't like to rotate his players at all. So,
Let's see here. Forest to win is plus 300. West Ham's minus 110 to win at home. Wow. That's pretty steep for West Ham, who haven't won in a while.
yeah, I think I'm going to say Forest 1-0. Put some money
I like
on
it. I like it. I'm going to go with just a 1-1 draw. I don't feel too great about it. I will say Villa minus 170. I wish it was a little cheaper than that for their game. Man City, is this the game that we're gonna talk about now? It is. Man City's minus 135, say. I don't know. Chelsea aren't great, but I just can't trust them. I don't have a read on them for what they're gonna do. They've won 5 of 7, including a draw with Arsenal and a loss to Brentford. I don't know what to make of them. Man City cook against Bournemouth, but haven't looked all that spectacular lately. But I think it's the last 4 Premier League matches. You want to guess what the results have been?
I looked it up. It's 1-0 City.
Yeah. We always joke that Man U and Chelsea's always 0-0 or maybe once in a while 1-1.
Yeah.
This one's always 1-0 City now, apparently.
Yeah.
You know what bothers me about Man City fans too?
Is
they act like they're God's gift to Green Earth. They're like, oh man, could you imagine if Chelsea didn't have Cole Palmer and we gave them?
Yeah, they're so kind.
It's like, and I'm thinking like, you bought Kovacic for like 40 mil. What are we talking about? You bought like a 30-year-old central midfielder that has injury problems.
Yeah,
you sold like your top prospect. Yeah, I don't. You got toasted on a deal. It happens. Yeah. You got Kevin De Bruyne because Chelsea gave up on him. It's what goes around comes around. I'm gonna say City 1-0. And it's gonna be a terrible goal. I would have said Nathan Ake goal, but he scored last week, so. And Akanji scored 2 recently. Maybe a Gvardiol goal? Is this possible?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 1-0 too.
I don't know. Maybe a John Stones goal.
Stones, isn't he hurt though? I thought he was hurt.
Oh yeah, maybe at the end of last game. Well, we played last game, but yeah, I think he did get a knock. Matthias Nunes goal, Rico Lewis goal.
Rico Lewis.
It's gonna be the dumbest guy possible. It'll probably be. We'll say Grealish. It's gonna be Grealish. He'll come on in like the 77th minute and
not Doku.
Hit a low roller. No, not Doku. He cooks so much that he might do nothing now for like 4 months, and people will still coast off that one game.
Yeah, I could see that.
And people are like, he's good. It's like he hasn't had a goal contribution in 10 match days. I think we need to reevaluate a little bit, somewhat. But what did you have for the prediction?
1-0.
1-0.
I mean,
Who's scoring?
you can't go against it. I'll say Doku. I'll
I
say
know,
he
it's
keeps
fate.
cooking.
Oh man, he is going to now that I went against him.
Yeah,
As in, I had faith in him.
exactly.
Jeremy Doku. I don't know. He kind of had his coming out party where people are like, "Who's this guy?" Oh, that kind of thing. Where people are like looking up clips and it's like, "Oh, look at his brother in like the Belgian league popping off." When shit like that starts happening, it's like, guys, don't really hang around that long. They kind of go a little south. Okay, what was your official prediction for the week again? To remind the listeners.
Leo Trossard brace.
Okay. I love when it's an Arsenal one, because then that's how you genuinely feel. It's not some where you're like, we're gonna draw with Sheffield. There's no anti-jinxing going on.
And
that's
you
the
know what
saying that I
happens
love.
when I say, "Oh, Arsenal are gonna win"? That's when they freaking drop points to freaking Burnley,
Yeah,
and then I'm like, "This
nah,
is why I
I
don't
don't.
predict Arsenal."
I genuinely, if you told me right now, like you're from Sunday, and you're like, yeah, Arsenal don't win this game, I just can't envision how it would happen. And it's not because Arsenal's so good. Burnley's just not, like, I just don't see it. I
Yeah,
just
but
don't.
if there's anyone who would, it'd be Arsenal. They got that
I don't know.
anti-dog in them.
It might be Arsenal in second place and Chelsea's first. Even though Chelsea beat them, it's still my point stands.
Chelsea
Arsenal
is
can't
just
become the new
roulette.
Chelsea where you beat like the good teams and then you drop points to the mediocre teams,
Yeah,
the mediocre to bad teams, because that's a bad feeling. Because then you finish third every year and you're like, man,
we should have.
remember we
done
lost to
better.
the team that finished 17th and we're the reason they stayed up, and that's the worst feeling.
Yeah,
That's some like Jose Mourinho, Rafa Benitez, Maurizio Sarri ball right there.
I mean,
That's what that is.
Arsenal are directly responsible for Aston Villa being where they are now.
That is true. And you know what? The other result was Watford would stay up. So you tell me what you'd rather have.
Well, we all know Watford
Good
would have gone
Villa?
down.
Yeah, eventually. I don't know. They could have had Walter Matsari second go around. They gave Kike Sanchez Flores a second go.
Imagine a world where Unai Emery goes to Watford instead.
I can't envision that world. I can envision that, I guess, more than I can see Burnley outright winning. We'll say that. All right. That was a fantastic episode. Until
Absolutely.
next week, keep on perusing. And adios, mis amigos.
Come on, you Hatters.